Hey everybody. As I'm on vacation right now, and as there were no entries and therefore no winners for this latest phase of the contest, I wasn't in a great rush to put this video up. But now it's time for me to tell you what my favorite movies of the 90s are. And hopefully this will help when it comes to the best of this decade. When I do that, at the end of the year, I will be offering DVDs as prizes. Which have a greater value, I suppose, than a customized video. So if you are interested in participating in that and winning a DVD, this may help in you sort of determining which of the movies out of this decade I'll be putting on that list. So, the clues were all pieces of music that were used in each of the movies, and I thought that wouldn't be too difficult, but apparently, a lot of people don't want to take the time to do that, so it's the kind of game that only I would want to play. Let me just go through the movies now. The number 10 movie, the bonus clues that I gave were for 12 Monkeys by Terry Gilliam and The Limey by Steven Soderbergh, which are terrific movies. I have a couple script issues with each of them, which is why they're not on this list. But my 10 are pretty much the movies that sort of define my taste of the 90s. In the first few months of 1990, I turned 17, and so I became legally able to see anything that I wanted to, excluding porn, of course, which I didn't want to see in the first place, so it didn't matter. So my taste curve, I became more adventurous in my viewings and this kind of stuff that I sought out. Friends of mine encouraged me to go to different venues and experience new genres. So that sort of helped me develop my sensibilities as far as cinema goes. Number 10 was Reservoir Dogs, the debut film by Quentin Tarantino, still my favorite film by him, and so memorable. The dialogue is all great, the acting is all great, the twists are amazing. It's just a really, really great low-budget thriller, part comedy, part drama, whatever. It's just something else. I just loved it. Starship Troopers was number 9, which is a sci-fi movie by Paul Verhoeven, part action movie, part primetime soap. A lot of the character relationships seem to be derived directly from classic 90210, which I was a closet fan of at the time, and part satire of a fascist society. If this society, this 24th century military society actually existed, this movie would be like their Top Gun. And aside from that, it's just a really exciting action picture, lots of fun. Before Sunrise is number 8. Originally I had American Beauty here. It was my favorite movie of 1999 at the time. However, my affection for that movie has diminished somewhat, and this one really belongs on here more because my affection for it has held strong. Richard Linklater directed it. Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy are two young people riding a train in Europe. They get off in Vienna for the night, wander around the city talking, getting to know each other, developing feelings for each other. It's a romantic, kind of bittersweet movie, and they did a sequel to it called Before Sunset 9 years later, which is in contention for best movie of this decade, because it's one of my favorites. Number 7 is Glengarry, Glen Ross. This is based on a David Mamet play, and he wrote the script for it as well. Some great acting in this. Jack Lemmon, Al Pacino, Ed Harris, Alec Baldwin, all terrific. Kevin Spacey, the first movie I ever saw Kevin Spacey in, and he's great too. And this movie kind of demonstrates my theory that a movie could be about anything at all, including a bunch of middle-aged guys who are just arguing in an office all night long, or all day long, and still be a really exciting piece of cinema. It's the writing, it's the acting, it's the visual style is also very memorable. The way scenes are shot and cut is actually helpful, really, really effective, and should be anyway, considering that half the movie takes place in one location. Terrific movie, I love it. I have large portions of it memorized as well. The Man in the Moon came out in 1991, about 10 years before Legally Blonde. It was Reese Witherspoon's debut movie. Incidentally, this movie is also directed by Robert Mulligan, who did The Man in the Moon, which is a classic, of course. And this is a sweet kind of coming-of-age story. Two sisters growing up in like the late 50s, early 60s on a farm, and they both fall in love with the same boy. Kind of tragic, but just very emotional, and one of those movies where when it was over, I just went, wow, that was something else. Really great. And I went to see this about another 2 times in the theater, despite the fact that it was kind of inconvenient to get to. Number 5, the Clint Eastwood Academy Award-winning Western Unforgiven, which is also on my good friend M. Glasson's movie list of the best movies of the 90s. You know, Clint Eastwood's at the top of his game here. It's like the best movie he's ever directed. And I was pretty floored when I saw it. All the acting's really good, but mostly I was struck by just how horrible it was that this guy who had tried to put, you know, his violent past behind him has to make ends meet, and he has to take this job and ends up gunning down a whole bunch of people, you know, in the process of doing that, and becoming the mean, bitter son of a bitch that he was back then once again. Terrific movie, really fantastic, and lots of great acting there, and yeah, amazing. I haven't seen this movie in many years, so I should check it out again very soon, I think.